Okay, I had this customer just drop off this 2011 Silverado 2500. It's a 6.0. His complaint is that he was driving down the road and the temperature gauge pegged out on him and the engine started misfiring. And it was running real rough and it was overheating, and then he kept driving it and it cooled back off to operating temperature and everything was fine. And the first thing I was thinking was, if it started misfiring, that can't be good. Did he have, any mechanical engine damage due to an overheat? Well, it's running fine now. If you go to the misfire counter on our Autel Ultra here, I don't have any current misfires, and then I don't have any in the history either. So if you go to the DTCs, well, actually there's only one code in the ECM, and it's a P1258. Engine coolant temperature, it's over temperature, and protection mode is active. So what's happening here is GM software in the computer, if it detects an overheat and it trips this code, the protection mode actually will disable a certain amount of fuel injectors to try to protect the engine, from mechanical failure, basically. So it's trying to protect itself. So what we're going to do, it's got 229,000 miles on it, I believe. Let's see, yeah, 229,000. It's got a lot on it. We're going to check the coolant. We're going to check for leaks, and hopefully it doesn't have a head gasket problem or something like that. So could just be as simple as a thermostat got stuck closed. But we'll do some checks on that. I'll get that on the next video. Okay, so now we're going under the hood to do some checking. The customer said that he had to add a gallon to a gallon and a half of antifreeze. I didn't know this until after he called me to tell me. And so he's added to it, and that's why it's not low. So I did some checking, just visual, and I don't see where I don't see any signs of coolant from the water pump in there. All that's dry. That's a usual suspect. Radiators on these are real common to leak, but all the typical spots up front are dry. So I went ahead and got my pressure tester hooked up. I've got the Matco one. Really nice tool. Use it all the time. You don't have to have a Matco to do the job, but we just buy a lot of tool truck stuff. So anyway, I have it pressured up. It's about 17. And I've been peeking around, and I think I've already found our culprit here. If you look, those heater hose lines, they go to these little heater hose connectors right here on the firewall, and they go to the heater core. They are dripping. So more than likely, this thing's just been slowly dripping, and it finally got low enough that it caused his overheat. So he's going to need those heater hose connectors, possibly the heater hoses. We'll determine that when we get them off, but probably going to recommend a thermostat also. I've had a lot of bad luck just fixing a leak and then doing a coolant flush. A lot of times, all of a sudden, you'll have a bad thermostat, and the customer's not happy when you add to the original bid. So I'm going to throw a coolant flush and a thermostat and heater hose repair on this one. I may even do an engine block test to make sure I don't have any combustion gas in the coolant, but I have a feeling we're not going to have any of that. So I'll get that leak fixed. I'll get a thermostat in it, do a coolant flush, and then we'll pressure test the system again and see how it goes.